Retro anime. How did we find it? How does it hold up? Unpacking the ins and outs of being an old school nerd and proving that 80s kids can't remember a damn thing right. These are the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd.
Welcome to Mindless Midlife Musings of the Anime Nerd. I'm Rick, and I'm joined by the rest of our panel, Lynette, Vic, and Brian. How's everyone doing today?
Yo, Joe!
Oh, no.
All right, well, today we enlist and join the ranks of America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force in their fight against the ruthless terrorist organization Cobra. Today we talk G.I. Joe, the movie. G.I. Joe the Movie is a 1987 American direct-to-video animated military science fiction film produced by Sunbow and Marvel. It is a sequel to the animated series that everyone knew from the 80s and the original toy line from Hasbro, and was animated in Japan by Toei Animation. So, let's start off with the spicy bit.
No.
It was animated in Japan. Is it anime?
No.
Hard no on this. Okay, Vic, I want to know, why is this not anime, but Transformers?
It was written and directed for a U.S. audience. Plain and simple.
All right. Brian, you seem to take issue with this visually. What is your stance? Is it anime? I could see that you had some contempt for the comment. So, what is your?
Well, personally, the only thing that even comes close to being considered anime is the beginning intro. If you cut out the music.
So, B, is it anime?
It's anime. And I even have the facts of why it's anime.
Why is it anime?
Now, we're going to go ahead and skip all the way to the mid portion of it, where the Joes had escaped and the Joes have been captured.
Yeah.
They escaped the first time, and they get their first tentacle reach scene.
Yes.
And that's not anime. I don't know what is.
Okay, we got one no and one yes. All right, Lynette, you're up. Now you were never a Joe fan, as you had said
I'm
before
not
we
a
started
Joe fan.
recording. Now,
No.
is G.I. Joe anime?
I'm happy to say it is not.
Oh,
it is an
Mom.
outsourced animation. Mostly because we can say with Transformers it's gray because they took the toy from Japan. The
Okay.
toy is an original Hasbro toy, which means it's America, outsourced to Japan because America cannot do animation as cleanly as Japan. So it's outsourced.
Oh man. All right, Brian, buddy, you are gonna be in the minority
Brian,
here
We're
because
still friends, Brian. We're still friends. I'll bring
But-
baklava when I come visit you.
Brian already
It's
knows
not-
where I land.
Hold on, is it Bakugan anime?
Well, Brian already knows where I land on this. It is. I agree. It is not anime. This is not anime. This is red, white, and blue, pure and true, and it's just happened to have been outsourced to the Japanese animation studio Toei, responsible for a tremendous amount of fantastic anime.
A tremendous amount of what?
Fantastic anime. They do a great job.
Fantastic anime. Are they responsible for fantastic cartoons? No, they're responsible for what?
They usually do
fantastic.
fantastic anime.
So you told me that their entire product line, except for one thing,
No, because I also don't believe Transformers the movie was anime. Remember? So there's at least two.
that's two. That's
There's
two.
at least two, and that's just the stuff that we've talked about. I agree with Lynette's take on this. It's an American toy line that used an American comic book company to write books, then turn into an American cartoon series written, produced by Americans, sell these toys. It just happened they outsourced the work.
All right. I take issue with this stance because it's the hope, right?
Uh-huh. Okay.
Right. The world wants to be black and white, right? But we're talking about acceptance, right? The same people who would chastise us for being Americans appreciate an anime, we're trying to tell them, hey, listen, give this a chance. It's not just a cartoon. And then what we're going to do is say, hey, everything that you like about anime, we've been doing this and we actually liked it. That's entirely true. But this is not anime.
Brian, I respect your position on this. I do. I think that's very deep and very inclusive of you. And
very cool.
I appreciate that.
We're not gonna-
Your attempts to reach across the aisle and bring non-anime fans into this, bless you. Just bless you. It's still not anime.
So the funny part is because it's 3 out of 4 against it being anime, so I guess the show's over. Goodbye.
But so we did it. We're gonna go ahead and finish it. Let's do this. Was not prepared. Now I watched this as a kid because, of course, I did. Right? It was '87 when this hit VHS, and I watched this as a kid. I was not like Lynette. I was not huge. I didn't dislike G.I. Joe, but I wasn't huge on G.I. Joe. I had my favorite Joes. I had, there were episodes that I enjoyed. I watched it, but I was never G.I. Joe fan, like dyed-in-the-wool G.I. Joe fan. But for me, this was a little bit harder of a watch than I expected it to be.
Oh my God.
Now, especially because since I enjoyed G.I. Joe, but I wasn't necessarily a G.I. Joe fan, I found so with Transformers the movie, they didn't sideline all your favorite characters, they just fucking killed them.
Yeah.
So there was no hope of those guys getting any more screen time. They were dead. In this, they sidelined everybody I liked.
Yes.
Everybody I liked got sidelined. I barely like a lot of Joes. But you take the only ones I liked and you put them in a cage the entire movie. So it's just like, oh, shit. I get what they were doing. At least they didn't kill them all. Like, good for you.
Yeah.
Let's learn, he said.
Right. Lessons were learned, which we did discuss in the Transformers episode. Lessons were learned. He slaughtered everybody's favorite toys, killed Optimus Prime. Parents, a horrible writing campaign. They were going to pitchforks and tiki torches. They were out for blood. And Hasbro backed off and said, all right, well, we already animated Duke dying, so we're going to undo that with dialogue.
They Days of Our Lives, Dim. That's what they did.
Which is hilarious, because if you watch the scene without audio, it's like, it's obvious he died.
He's dead as a doornail. But anyway,
you don't even see him again afterwards at all.
Yeah, they write him out of it. They write their way out of it. But they did elect early on not to kill off all the favorite Joes. Did that because I did not feel like seeing my favorites die. But it was a difficult thing for me to get into when all the characters I liked weren't there to enjoy.
Look, I can understand why they decided not to do that, because destroying a robot is nowhere near hits as home as
right. Yeah,
having a snake in Duke's chest.
I mean, yeah. Can you imagine like Storm Shadow pulls a rifle and blasts Snake Eyes' head off? Like, that's not sure you can pull it off because you're like, he was a robot. You doing this is like, yo, you just killed a ninja. Like, that's fucked up.
Hey, you have to show the blood. The blood is.
Which is why I feel like they brought out, eventually in the series, they brought out like the battle android troopers.
Oh yeah,
those could be shot and exploded and everything, and no big deal.
The only time
cares.
Yeah.
All the while, the bad guys are singing Jingle Bells, except they replaced it with Cobra La. Cobra La 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 stuff. They got, how about La 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 La?
I want to say, I'm not going to harp on this.
I come in as negative. I do not like G.I. Joe.
But here we go. Apparently, G.I. Joe is the Ponyo.
No. Hang on, Brian. No
I
worries.
would watch
I've got you
before I watch G.I. Joe again.
Brian, I've got you on this. All right, so I'm going to tell you, the opening animation is really good.
Yes,
it's really, really good. They did a really good job. I am not a fan of 20 seconds in being teabagged by a Cobra gun twice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like,
Look.
seriously.
Look at the first two statements of mine.
But yes, Brian, yes, that opening sequence is so good. It's so well done. It is so much of that bravado America shit that's just it's a fucking bald eagle with a machine gun. It's glorious. It's
Yeah.
They actually
good.
had a machine gun on the bald eagle.
I believe it did, yeah. It was excellent. It was super
Look,
cool.
I gotta tell, our first two thoughts were word for word. He and Rich had the same one. His was, I showed them a note saying, I think we got teabagged by Cobra.
Oh,
word for word.
I want to let
and-
you guys know. Go ahead.
I'll go so far as say not just the opening animation.
Yeah.
But the first scene of the Terradrome,
Okay.
that was also
Oh, it's-
animated extreme.
Really did.
Yes, the
killed it.
Terradrome on some sequences were really well, but nowhere near as well as the opening.
Totally killed it with this movie. The animation was great throughout, especially considering it's 1986. It did a very good job, especially considering the restraints they had. You got to understand, G.I. Joe was a comic book before it was a cartoon. The very idea of them making the half-hour commercial to sell G.I. Joe toys was illegal, if I'm not wrong. So their method to get around that was to make G.I. Joe a comic book first, then take the comic book and make a cartoon of it. So they were making a cartoon of a comic book that just so happened to have a toy line, and that was their way of skirting around a lot of the issues. And so Toei was not only tasked with making a cartoon, but making it look kind of like a comic book.
And keeping true to the toys.
Right.
keeping-
And being, yeah. So they did a really good job. There were some of these scenes were really, really good. I was very impressed. The opening being one of them. There was so much shit going on. It was beautiful. It was really well done.
Did they combine theme songs in that
They
intro?
did. Oh, they totally. Well,
Okay.
they kind of wrote a new one. Like Cobra never really had
Okay.
like a thing. They sort of did it for this. Yeah, it's corny as shit. The song is corny as shit, but the action sequence is great.
Oh, it was great.
The
Yeah.
only issue I had with the opening is that Cobra's over here, making a mess, wrecking people, wrecking things, and G.I. Joe was there the whole time waiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, okay, hold. We gotta make a dramatic entrance. Hold. Then boom, go.
So it is a very well animated movie. I'll give you that. The action sequence is very cool. Some of the stuff they do in this, I don't know. It's scene where Falcon's punching out a couple of Cobra, and it looks good. They did a really good job with it. Credit where credit's due. We brought it. They did a really good job, like you said, Brian, representing the toys, but also representing the comic book, and kind of doing their own thing with it.
Like, apparently, we can't even get video games to get the same type of representation. Right? But every last one of the figures look just like the figure, like you're buying the figure.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, everything.
So when we're talking about, when we say it's possible, you know what I'm saying, to respect the source material and respect the marketing over all across, man, it was so, like, I think back to, if we're looking at another toy that maybe had a close second, would be like the He-Man action series. You know what I'm saying? Well, somehow every version of He-Man that you had didn't make it into the comic, right?
Yeah.
But every character that is in here, except I don't think I've ever seen a Pythona or a Globulus, but I have seen a Nemesis Enforcer.
Globulus and M.A.S.S. Enforcer were actually mail order only, as
There you
a
go.
3-pack with one of the Royal Guards.
Yeah. I never saw a Pythona, but I
She
did
did not get a
I
figure back then.
did see and hold in my hands a Globulus. That was
Yeah.
a legit toy. I never had a Nemesis Enforcer.
The same thing with like Sergeant Slaughter's Renegades. Those were mail order only as well.
Yeah, those
Hey.
guys. I have a comment about those guys later.
So
You'll get to-
we talk now. Let's do juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Between Transformers and G.I. Joe, right?
Well, not even that. It also came out around the same time as a bunch of other high profile, like He-Man. He-Man had a cartoon that a movie came out roughly around the same time as well. The sword one.
The Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, Masters of the Universe. They had not the live action one, but they had an animated movie. It was him and She-Ra, and it was like a thing. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have Andrea add it to the notes when I find it. But yeah, they had a movie together, and so it was like this was that time. This was that era. Go on, Brian. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I really just I was going to juxtapose between say the difference between Falcon and Hot Rod.
Oh, thank God. I'm glad you brought it up. All right, look. I didn't like Hot Rod. Really didn't. He bugged the shit out of me. I hate Falcon way more.
Yes.
Way more.
Like,
Yeah.
infinitely more. If Falcon makes Hot Rod look like a prime. He makes a Hot Rod seem like a fucking champion compared to what Falcon is. And I can't believe that Hasbro put bank on that concept. They're like, this is gonna be our Duke.
Duke, the next generation.
But, hey, they made the decision for Hot Rod, so you could see where the thought processes were going.
Sure. I mean, I'm with you.
And
Yeah, but
not
the
only
problem is the only person that liked Falcon was Duke.
Yes, nobody liked Falcon. Nobody
But-
in the cartoon liked Falcon. I don't know if anybody in real life likes Falcon.
Even Jinx. Jinx,
No.
I think, more like settled for than liked him.
He was a
and she
whack.
has to fight blind. So
Yeah, I always thought Jinx and Quick Kick would have been a good.
Is it
Anyway.
because of Asian?
No, it's
Really?
because they both know how to kick ass.
Fair enough. Okay, but you also have the comparison between Cup and Sergeant Slaughter.
I was gonna say Cup and Duke, because right in Falcon's court martial, Duke steps up and he's like, "I believe there's a good Joe in him," which is something Cup never fucking said. Entire movie.
Until the end. Until the end.
But you're right. So
Yeah.
Slaughter believed in him as well. I don't know how so many people believed in Falcon, but nobody believed in Hot Rod. But let's go with it.
They really did take the whole. We're just going to take this whole premise and put it in here, and we're going to have the symbolism of them. You know.
Yeah.
except they
Basic
learned their
same-
mistake with Transformers and decided not to kill everybody in G.I. Joe.
Yeah, the same narrative arcs, the same character developments for each person. A lot of that was parallel. And, sure, arguably it's a lazy idea, but it's a very simple hero's arc, and they use it all the time for movies, so it's not unique.
Can we also talk about Cobra Law? Cobra Law for me was a stretch.
Okay, Brian, you and I we're operating on the same wavelength here. So, I wrote my notes as I was talking about this. The whole concept of Cobra Law and 40,000-year-old lizard people race.
40,000 years.
And this bioweapon slant that they wanted to put into G.I. Joe, leaning hard science fiction. It's fine, but tonally, it felt dramatically different than the series itself. The series itself is very much military might, espionage, defeating this evil terrorist organization stuff. F-14s, bald eagles, yeehaw. And then they brought in all this Jason the Wheeled Warriors kind of like bio-villain shit. It's the best way I can think of. It felt very off to me. So it was hard for me to get behind.
Especially since Calabianus's snake body was the only Cobra-like thing in the entire area.
Now, that's Serpentor's shitty suit. But yeah, go ahead.
Look, I don't know how many damn vipers he got on the damn suit.
Where is he hiding them? Is he keegling them? I just don't. Anyway.
How fast did you grow? Yeah.
Maybe he's like the chick in Ninja Scroll and he's just all snakes.
You know the thing about it is, though? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I could see that.
And guess what that would mean? That's something else they got from anime, or what? What we say? Again, you
As like cultures inspire each other. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of those kinds of parallels, and I have a lot of issues with the whole Cobra Law idea. I do like the fact that, in researching for this, you find out Cobra Law wasn't ever supposed to be a thing, that it was just a placeholder name. And then they're like, oh, well, fuck, the bosses like it, so now we got to use it. So let that be a lesson to all of you professionals out there. Do not give stupid names to important plot points because your boss might actually like it.
Just call it placeholder name.
You go.
Yes.
Look,
Placeholder
clearly Cobra Law is supposed to be a riff on the Shangri Law.
100%. 100% is what they're going for. Boy,
But
does
it
that not
sounds-
land.
It
It sounds so stupid. They're
Not land.
singing a Christmas
Oh.
song while they're fighting.
And just,
Well, they
so
are in the Himalayas. It's always snowing, so
there are... And okay, so as far as concepts for villains go, I like the idea of Serpentor far more than I like the execution of Serpentor. The idea of creating this perfect hybrid clone with all these masterful strategists and warriors from out history.
who is still a clone.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Why don't you just go ahead and make an android or even bring Skynet? You really could have. I mean,
As a concept, I liked the idea. I just wasn't a fan of the execution. I always thought Serpentor looked silly. Somebody, I don't even know if Marvel could sell that as a live action suit. Like somebody, how do you, with that, trying to wrap you, this is supposed to be rooted in some level of a reality. There's a semi-real attempt at a military structure. There's a semi-real attempt at high stakes. There's a semi-real attempt at a lot of this stuff. And then you get this motherfucker walking out and hits Cobra Unitard. You're supposed to be terrified.
No.
I think it's possible, especially when you look at Stargate.
Guess, I don't know. He's just, like I said, I love the idea. I was never a big fan of the execution. He was never my favorite Cobra villain. Anyway.
At all.
He just really wasn't.
I think that's important that we need to have a conversation about who is your favorite.
Well, we did do that for Transformers. I do feel like we should try and do that for this too. So let's get into that. Your favorite Joe and your favorite Cobra, right? All right, go ahead, Brian.
I gotta go with the Arashikage, Storm Shadow, and Snake Eyes.
I respect that entirely. Vic, you're up, bud.
I'm also gonna say Snake Eyes, but ever since I was young, I've had a thing for the Baroness. It was the accent for me.
Okay.
Moose and
Poor
Swaddle.
line. Okay, got the little poor line.
So now Lynette, and not being a fan of G.I. Joe, which, again,
Nope.
totally respect that. Did you even have a Joe that you tolerated and liked, and a Cobra?
No, not really. But I did pop the heads off of them and replace them with Barbie heads so that my brother would not like them.
Oh, that's fantastic. I
That
love
is
it.
awesome.
My heart.
Can imagine Malibu Barbie on top of Cobra.
That's great. Cobra Commander's body with a mouth. That's so
Look,
good.
I don't. Then the part maybe I should have said this, but G.I. Joe is actually one of my favorite toys. I mean, I'm sorry.
Great.
Let me get
Well,
you
it was
hesitated.
my brother's. It was my brother's too. But he would every once in a while come back and
I
find
really enjoyed the toys. I really did like the toy line. G.I. Joe, the toy line. I very much enjoyed it. I liked a lot of the character designs. I always ended up being disappointed in those characters when I saw them in the cartoon. It's just the way that a lot of them were handled. I liked Tunnel Rat as a kid. I thought he was a cool looking G.I. Joe figure. And then when I saw him in this movie, I was like, he's a fucking idiot. I just was not this guy sucks.
Come on, Tunnel Rat was by far one of the coolest. So,
Of all the rookies, he was probably the best one.
Which isn't saying
who's
much.
the worst? All right, who's the worst?
Chuckles.
Come on, man. No,
Let me
no.
go.
I mean,
Vic,
okay,
come
hold up.
on, man. Come through.
Chuckles, I agree. Chuckles is bad. But I thought Big Lob or Big Knob, he was
Lob.
extremely annoying.
Oh, the dude who did self narration.
Yes.
Big Knob doing his own
I actually read the
self-play-by-play.
credits just to make sure his name was right. Yeah, it's Big Lob.
It's Big Lob, I know, but I'm calling him Big Knob. Big Knob, his play-by-play of all his shit, that drove me crazy. It drove me
Yes.
crazy. Chuckles is absurd. I can't even get behind the idea. The motherfucker caber tosses a missile like he's in a Scottish Highlander.
Hold on.
Then
Not
wait,
just that.
and then he jump starts a helicopter.
And then
And then just hangs on.
hangs on.
Jesus Christ.
Look, that right there is by far the most asinine thing. I mean, you legit have to bow down because the drag of the propellers is an actual thing. And he's
You know,
gonna hold on
just
with
hang it
one
up.
hand and fire a fucking laser pistol. What the fuck are you doing with the pistol?
I can't. They sidelined all the best characters. All right, so
Oh.
to circle back, my favorite Joe, and it's silly. I liked GI Joes that were a little more, I don't know, like visually they were like I could see this being a real character, a real thing.
I gotta
always-
say that.
I always liked Shipwreck.
Shipwreck,
I was like-
right?
How did I know that's where you were gonna go? I
He's a-
knew that's where you were gonna go.
He's a straight up sailor, and I just fucking loved that. I just
And not just sailor. He still had his hat. He was
Right.
still wearing dungarees. When
Yeah,
I
right.
joined the Navy, when I went to the Navy, I looked like Shipwreck. And
I
then
just-
it changed. So I can appreciate that.
I just loved that
Sure.
whole thing. And then when I watched him in the cartoon, he was one of the only characters I liked because he was totally doing this like Jack Nicholson thing. It was great. And then I found out later that he was Hispanic. And I'm like, this motherfucker's awesome. I love Shipwreck. Oh, anyway.
Yes.
So I
Holy
very
shit.
much. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he is.
What? What are we, the Hispanic or the Jack Nicholson? Because both are true.
All three. He was a
Tell you
cross
what-
between, basically, he's Cuban Pete, Jack Nicholson, and Jack Sparrow. All
There
three.
you go. There you go. He's great. I loved Shipwreck. I mean, I obviously loved Snake Eyes too.
And
but
he had
I-
a fucking parrot, too.
I always liked Shipwreck.
I did
for
not make
some
an
reason.
appearance in the movie.
Yeah, he did not. Nobody's animals did. Thank God. Wait,
No,
no.
that's-
Apparently, there were some birds. getting the
The
getting the shit
dog.
on. And Order was in
Yep.
it.
You know, but Order did not make it to Cobra,
Fucking Cobra Law.
because they would get eaten by all the fucking snakes.
They sidelined all the Joes I liked. Snake Eyes, Lady J, Roadblock, Quick Kick, Shipwreck. These are all Joes that I like. And all of them spent the entire movie in a cage. Oh, I
But
was very much.
sci-fi. But they did little cameos. Sci-fi. I think the one that had the baddest cameo was fucking Lowlight.
Yeah.
It's
And then-
showtime. I'm like, oh shit, that's all right. You can move on, sir. You've done enough. Go ahead.
Right. It was frustrating because you get a G.I. Joe the movie. There's only a handful of characters I even liked, and all of them are unusable. So then you give me all these new characters, these rookies. What did they call them? I wrote it down. Rawhides. Is that what they called them?
Rawhides.
They called them rawhides.
All eyes are renegade.
Give me all these rawhides and renegades, and I'm just like, I can't even. A Tunnel Rat annoys the shit out of me. Big Knob is unfucking bearable, and Chuckles is a goddamn joke. And Falcon's the worst. He's the fucking worst.
The worst.
And you're supposed to be rooting for all these new Joes. At least with the Transformers, a lot of the new ones were kind of cool. RC was awesome. I liked Springer. Like, I mean,
Wait,
it was
The
just...
like seriously, if you go through like everyone hated Ultra Magnus and
Yeah.
Hot Rod.
Yeah.
And you are basically saying the whole lineup for you.
the whole fucking lineup was they were all worse than Hot Rod for me. It was a frustrating thing. But yeah, Shipwreck was my favorite Joe. Snake Eyes was a close second. I always liked Storm Shadow. I just thought the idea of the ninja was fucking great. Storm Shadow was 100% my favorite villain. You guys remember Spirit? What happened to
Yes.
Spirit?
Yes.
Why was Spirit not in this movie? Did he die? I don't remember in the series, but what did we just give up on Spirit? Like, was he too much of a cliche? Like, I don't know. Like, there was a big thing
Who's
between him
Spirit?
and Storm Shadow. Spirit was an absolute 100% cliche of a Native American man. Every cliche you can imagine in your head,
Every last
exactly
one.
what this character looked like.
Down to the red bandana.
All of it. It is every one of them.
He was like the G.I. Joe version of John Redcorn from King of the Hill.
Short of having a giant headdress on, everything you could possibly think of for a cliche of a Native American warrior was Spirit. And he was a big deal in the cartoon.
So Snake Eyes had a dog, Shadow.
Yeah, Snake Eyes had a Timberwolf, yeah, and Spirit had a bald eagle.
And Spirit was so the bald eagle that we saw at the beginning, that was actually Spirit.
Right, it was Spirit. So where the fuck was Spirit? Anyway,
he could have been on holiday.
He takes a break, but his bird's got to keep working. It's like, hey, we're not approving vacation for both of y'all. One of you's got to show up.
He saw what was coming and was like, you know what? I got the vid. I'm gonna be out for this battle.
Oh man. All right. So I watched this with my son of 10 years old, and it was a lot of fun. So first of all, Brian, I want to point out that my 10-year-old son pointed out the Cobra crotch shots in the intro. He's like, this is an awful lot of crotch. I'm like, you're right. We are being and then he pointed out something else that really made me laugh. He's like, why are they calling all these weird names? I had to explain to my son what call signs were. And then I had to listen to the call signs. And I realized that these were terrible call signs. These were terrible code names. One of them was named Dial Tone. I want to let you know how well that name is aged. That's a great. And then the other one's called Snow Job. Just going to leave that there. Have that one. That one's free. Enjoy it. Just there's not a lot of really great food. And here's my problem, Brian. Here's where I'm circling to this. I'm coming full circle on this. You have shitty ass characters. I'm sorry to those fans of these characters like Lifeline, Snow Job, and Dial Tone, and all these guys. And they're not the ones that get sidelined. No, we're gonna put all the cool Joes in a cage. And these guys get to keep roaming around for the rest of the movie.
Are you sure they aren't like the Star Trek red shirts? You know, like these new characters. Snow Job. Well, you see all these good characters. We're gonna put them in a cage and save them. We're gonna red shirt these other ones and just let them. They're expendable. They can die.
Oh man! All right.
I will say. Brian. I'm sorry, Brian.
Let's say that.
This is by far the most painful episode we've ever recorded for me.
Like
I'm over here like, bah, 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 bah. Oh my god! I just got stabbed in the heart with a snake. Ah, shit.
I am not here to shit on this movie, because it does succeed as a kid's film. Like it does succeed at that. Like it's very entertaining. Again, my 10-year-old son, who has the attention span of a gnat, he sat through this whole movie. It did its job. It worked. He was into it. And he was making fun of it because some of it's just absurd, even for a 10-year-old. But he enjoyed it. Like I asked him afterwards. I said, "Hey, did you like it?" He goes, "Yeah, it was pretty cool." I like because he's into monsters and shit. So for him, the whole idea of Cobra Law was fun because they had all these giant bugs and shit. And for him, it was like a spider pit in King Kong, you know? So to him, that was great. So it's interesting how this movie lands differently for different kinds of people. For me, all that stuff was like, well, this is dumb. What the fuck are we doing? But to him, it was like, oh, that's cool. It's a giant stick bug. Oh, hey, cool. This is a giant slug. And I'm like, awesome.
I stand by this. This is the Ponyo of anime.
I wouldn't go that far.
I've been here before. I've seen this exact episode.
No, Brian, I want to engage with you on this. I want your thoughts on that. What was it about Cobra Law that wasn't working for you, but this movie still carried?
Okay, what drove me up a wall is just one sequence specifically. Is when Tunnel Rat got swallowed by a giant slug thing.
Yeah.
He blows a hole through its side and runs out, right?
Yeah.
No big deal, but the maniacal laugh he had when he ran out of it.
He was definitely in the heat of the moment there.
No. This was like serial killer laugh. It's like he just realized he got the okay to kill anything that moves, and he was enjoying it. That's the kind of laugh he had. It was just such a weird laugh.
I can't fault that assessment.
It is true. He did, without a doubt.
Outstanding. I was going to say that the retcon of Serpentor being a thought process,
Yeah.
it didn't land, especially considering that apparently Cobra Commander was a citizen of Cobra Law.
Yeah. A lot of
He
this
wouldn't recognize that shit.
A lot of this is a big stretch. Yeah, I agree.
Right. So,
and not just a citizen, he was like a science officer at Cobra Law.
Right.
Yeah.
And exactly how old is he? If Galapagos is 40,000 years,
right,
and that's just 40,000 years, and he was still an adult at that time,
right?
It wasn't even.
Yeah, I agree. It was a lot. He ventured very hard into the science fiction-y of it, and it's fine. It wasn't.
That's not what G.I. Joe was about.
Right. From tonally, it's not what I was used to. And so it was kind of
off. About weather dominators and shooting Cobra.
For sure. Weather dominators and black entertainment television. Because Serpentor was very obsessed with the BET. He wanted BET. Wanted it hard.
Get out my fucking head.
He needed.
I can't tell you how many times.
The plot couldn't work without BET.
Needed
not
BET.
work with that.
Give the printer a Colt 45 and some malt liquor. I mean, he'll be good.
Just get the man a cable subscription and get all the BET he wants.
Get up fucking head. Goddamn.
All right. So anyway, some of the things that I thought were really cool. Obviously, the animation I already talked about. I thought Cobra Commander's de-evolution into a snake was pretty damn cool. It's scary. I did laugh a bit at I was a man. And even Roblox like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, just so done with it.
Look, that was actually word for word for what happened in the cartoon.
It's headcanon now.
Look, I don't know if you ever thought about doing like voice acting, but that was pretty good.
It was so... I couldn't stop laughing. Even Deb, who was my wife, who was reading it next to us while Gabriel and I were watching, and she's like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, what the hell is his problem? Why won't he shut up about it?" You don't understand. He was a man.
Look, I'm telling you,
be a man.
You gotta get her take on this. You gotta bring her in on this one of these. Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
I think we would laugh so much if Deb wasn't here.
Roadblock had zero patience for that shit because he'd been putting up with it for miles. It's like, just shut up, for the love of God.
I was so done with it.
But it was still,
carrying bridal style all the way through the whole thing too.
So I will say that, like, all right, so Cobra Commander was the villain I grew up with. Like, he was the villain of G.I. Joe. So having him be written out of the show like this was pretty cool and impactful. They didn't kill him. They destroyed him. They ruined him. They turned him into, this thing.
Not a man.
Not a man.
He's not a man.
But he's not anymore. So, I mean, they reversed it when Deke took over and they did their own G.I. Joe series after this. They brought him back. He was the hooded version, but he was terrifying. Up until then, it was really... Condition wasn't supposed to be reversible, but,
I think it was cool that they actually showed what his face was.
I dug it. I dug seeing all the eyes. Like, it was cool. Although it does explain why Cobra Commander was.
The problem with that deformity is you would have thought that he would have saw a lot more shit coming.
It's a little short-sighted.
Yeah.
So wait, the way that I thought it was, there was like, man, if you've got that many eyeball sockets in your head, your brain's got to be tiny. You don't have much room in there. It explains a lot about his.
Yeah, but can
ability.
we just talk about that whole dressing down of Cobra Commander on the island at first?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they went in on him.
Yes.
People turn coats faster than a reversible jacket. That shit is terrible. Like, no, he sucks. Kill him.
I feel like they took all like the haters of G.I. Joe and said, "What would you say about Cobra?" And
Yeah.
then that's what they
Like,
did. Like, they just quoted haters. Like,
Yeah.
Like the problem is, all right. So not the problem, but I know that the same actor that did Cobra Commander also did Starscream.
Yes, right. Same voice actor.
So this guy is 2 for 2 for having horrible characters.
Right.
Right.
And voicing them perfect.
I feel like all the hate that was for Cobra Commander,
Yeah.
I felt like they were, and we also don't like Starscream as well. So we're going to tell you what we feel about him as well. And we're going to include this in this bitch fest.
No, you know what I hate about Cobra Commander? He's always trying to get a Megatron. They're like, wait, no. All right, we'll allow it.
Sure.
We'll let that slide. It's cool.
We find out that there's actually a crossover between Transformers.
Oh yeah. There was a
and G.I. Joe.
Not an animated series though, right? I was only never knew about the comic. Oh, there was an animated. I knew there was a comic.
After the Transformers movie, so it was a futuristic episode.
I'll be that. All right.
They did a crossover series?
I didn't realize they had an
episode.
And we just lost Lynette. Lynette is done with us.
It was one. I'll explain it real quick. It was
Go ahead.
4 Autobots. For some reason, their consciousness got transferred over into human bodies. By the end of the episode, they're back in their Autobot bodies. But the guy that did it, as he's walking away, you always heard his voice. It sounded like a deeper version of Megatron, of Cobra Commander. But sure enough, at the very, very end, the last little bit, he's walking away. He jumps up in the air and yells "Cobra."
Gotcha.
And end of episode.
That sounds terrible. Just at your elevator.
I loved every second of it.
I'm sure.
Adult me, it sounded really dumb coming out of my mouth right now.
I have a question about this movie. Brian, maybe you can help answer, because my understanding of this particular procedure is limited to Hollywood. And I know Hollywood doesn't do a great job representing things. So, Brian, as far as court-martials go, is that how court-martials go? Because I don't think that's how court-martials are supposed to go. Just wrote it down because I wanted to ask, because I felt very distinctly that's probably not how court-martials are supposed to go. He's my brother, sir. Well, we're going to have to think about this. Let's take a beat.
He shouldn't have had a job after bringing a girl into a site. She's already been behind bars.
Ryan, this isn't...
Girl, we did not know about that. Did not care. Technically, I wasn't even 8. 87, you said?
87, yeah.
I was 10.
You were 10.
Yeah.
Right. That's it. This is perfect time to watch it with my son. I was 10 when this movie came out. My son was 10 the first time watching it. It was actually pretty cool. But
you didn't like it when you were 10, did you?
No, I enjoyed it. I did. I enjoyed G.I. Joe the movie.
Okay, all right.
Coming at it now with fresher eyes, you see a lot of the absurdity of things, choices that were made.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so narratively, there's still a good story structure here. There's still a hero's arc here. Falcon sucks ass, but doesn't change the fact that they did tell a decent story and it was very well animated. It's that the characters they chose to be the mainliners here were very poorly chosen, in my opinion. And a 10-year-old me didn't see it that way. 10-year-old me I was into the pomp and circumstance of it all. I was into, I didn't get that Falcon was a complete piece of shit, but I was following.
It did not land for me as much as it landed now. I was like, honestly speaking, I'm pretty sure not only is he a piece of shit, but he is by far the most Harvey Weinstein of all the villains.
He's terrible. Terrible.
Yes.
Oh, no. We passed terrible in a rearview mirror. Like, he is horrible. He is.
How?
Just
how? I want to know. Okay. Adult me looks at this. Brian, hang on. Stick with me here, please. Adult me looks at this. And, right, you've heard my intro, right? It's straight from the cartoon. Highly trained special mission force
He was able to do trick shots.
And these were the best of the best. This is what we got with these guys. Missile caber tossing motherfucker. It just
Apparently, Chuckles is just a police officer.
Yeah, apparently, right.
He's just a police
Chuckles is
officer.
Magnum PI on steroids and is a mute.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tom Selleck had a baby, and it was Chuckles. Just
And did not laugh not one time.
He
Not
did
one.
not chuckle at all.
Anyway, so adult me watches this and goes, really? This is the elite, highly trained special mission force? These are them? This is it? This is the best America had to offer, was these motherfuckers. How are we alive? It was very much... Younger me was like, oh man, look at this. This is cool. This guy, he digs through tunnels, and this guy, he does the thing. Like, it was a very different experience. This is a fantastic cartoon if you're 10 years old, and it's 1987. For my son, 10 years old in 2023, it was pretty cool. That's a direct quote.
Teabag.
So, notwithstanding.
Yeah, teabag notwithstanding. Yeah.
Right.
Notwithstanding and not with bagging. Which one are we going to go with this?
That's dipping. I don't know. So I did. So there's this thing about Brian. You know how you were talking about how the cartoon, the animation team, did a really good job representing the toys, right? And they're representing the comic book variation on that and bringing those characters to life in this movie. And I agree with you. Then this scene happens, and I'm going, wow, they did too good of a job doing this. Falcon gets court-martialed, who talks his way out of it by telling him he's related to him. Sure. They send him to the slaughterhouse, which is great. Because when they say we're sending you to the slaughterhouse, my son's like, they're going to kill him? Oh, no. It's not.
He may want to be dead. He may want to die.
I knew what was coming because I'd already seen it, and also Sergeant Slaughter. So I'm like, all right, cool. So no, they're sending him. You'll see. So we watch. So Sergeant Slaughter brings him in. It's pretty funny bit. I like it. It's very on brand for
titty bag. Titty bag.
It's great. Falcon's trying to flex, and they got to do this special mission, go investigate Cobra or whatever, and they're going to use what's his name, Mercer, the ex Viper, to sneak into the building. And Falcon's trying to flex. He's like, hey, how about we do it with no weapons? Huh? And Slaughter's like, I like your initiative, man. Right? So he's like, great, we're going to do this. And everybody looks at him like they're going to kill him. I'm like, that's funny. Except when they actually get there, everybody still has their weapons. Every one of them.
Yes.
Mercer still has his pistol and his holster in his chest. Mercer still has grenades and a knife on his leg. Literally everybody has the exact same shit they had when they were a toy. Because they couldn't bother to take away the weapons because that's how they're shown as a toy. So I was like, oh wow, they did too good of a job representing the action figure.
We're not going to discuss how Cobra fires someone and they don't change the password on their air vents.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've worked in tech a bit. We're not really great about the password thing.
We
legit
just had this conversation about IT and Comic-Con. We just had this conversation.
Yes, right. Well, I thought it was pretty fucking funny that they're like, we're going in with no weapons, and everybody had fucking weapons, and nobody addresses it. Except, of course, Sergeant Slaughter, who never has weapons, because his toy doesn't have weapons. So, of course, he didn't have weapons going in.
I thought that was a brilliant thing to bring in that and tie it into the WWE or WWF.
Back then, right. It was great. It was a fantastic way to tie those two things together. And Slaughter's a hilarious character. He really brings a lot. He's funny as shit. And I loved his whole, weird rivalry thing with, what's his Nemesis Enforcer. It was fucking funny. I dug it. It was great.
Oh, he was like, yeah, you're mine. I gave you the first one.
Right.
Move it to the back.
Right, yeah. So no, I appreciate it. And I forget his real name, but Sergeant Slaughter. He did a great job with that character, both in the WWF and as a GI Joe. I thought he was.
That is his name. You will put some respect on his name. His name is Sergeant Slaughter. What the fuck are we? Why are we even having this conversation?
Fair point. Fair point. You are correct. That stand down.
Hulk Hogan is his name. The Rock is his name. Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's his fucking name. Why are we even doing this? His name is Sergeant Slaughter.
Copy that.
Or his name is actually. But yeah, we'll go with Sergeant Slaughter.
That's not necessary. And Andrea put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
His name is fucking Sergeant Slaughter. And we don't need...
We're just gonna bleep it out. We're just gonna bleep out his real name for his own safety. That man, look at that. That man has a glorious jawline. Look at that thing. Jesus Christ.
Even the jawline was animated well.
Oh yeah, he was great. It's excellent representation. Boy, what else can we say about this? I have another note here, and so 10-year-old me was like, "Oh, this is cool," and then adult me is like, "Are those bug planes jizzing on everyone?"
The sound effects.
They were, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were. It's
Again,
adults need this.
Again, if that's not anime, I don't know what is.
This is what happens when you outsource your material. You also get a blend of cultures.
That's all I know is the second that they started shooting it, I heard the.
You know what?
Man.
Just today, because I rewatched it a few hours ago, and I'm like, I'm just giggling like a 12-year-old. I'm like,
Go ahead.
Well, that is the best definition of a cum shot I've ever heard in my life. It's called a blend of culture. I'm going to use that from now on.
Oh, sure.
Our culture is about to blend. Here we go. Blending.
You know, I am gonna say,
Please. I don't look, I'm telling you now. If you're, I don't know what your final notes in, but if you don't change it to blending culture, I'm quitting. I'm quitting now. I will be tendering my resignation. It needs to be blending culture. From now on, just like Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, we need to put blending culture in it.
so Brian,
Which
I
you
am
haven't
glad,
said in a while.
and I am glad you brought up Super Dimension Fortress Macross, because the note I read on IMDb was very interesting, in that because of gravitas that Robotech gave who war, killing off characters, Fokker and Dixon, Hasbro felt pressured to give them the green light to kill Joe in this movie, bring gravitas to the story. So Yuke's air quote death was a thing because of Roy Fokker. Pretty interesting. That would be what
If you really think about it, Roy and Duke, they have a lot of similarities.
They do. They truly do. Anyway, I thought it was an interesting note that I was like, I could see that happening, because Robotech would have been in its heyday around that time, and it was doing a way better job representing warfare. G.I. Joe was, because nobody could get killed in G.I. Joe.
You know, the thing about it is, maybe it's my own rose-colored glasses, but when we were on the base,
Yeah.
I'm a military brat. Rick, you're a military brat. Lynette, you're a military brat. That's all we really had on the military.
Yeah.
In terms of toy. When you went to the commissary,
Well, yeah.
to the BX.
The BX. You went to the BX. There was wall-to-wall Joes, man. America all the way.
All the way.
All the way.
No,
I
could
could get
see
any
how.
Joe.
Yeah. So seeing those toys in the cartoon reminded me to go back and, I was literally just thinking, damn, I want to start collecting G.I. Joes. It worked. It fucking worked.
It absolutely fucking works. It happened to me with the Transformers movie. Watch that. I watched it with my son. My son was like, "This is awesome." I'm like, "Yeah, this is awesome. Where's my 1980s Bumblebee?" eBay.
It worked. In a subliminal. Maybe, you know what? Maybe G.I. Joe did suck. Maybe, I don't know.
But it worked.
I felt like I was being hypnotized. I feel like as I listen to it now, I'll be hypnotized to go buy those toys again. Holy shit!
But you know what toys I'm not buying? Chuckles, Big Knob, Lob Knob. What the fuck was his name?
No. I'm buying
I'm not
Chuckles to
buying-
send it to Lynette so she can put a Barbie head on it.
I'm not buying Big Knob, Chuckles, and if I buy a Falcon, it's to burn him like Sid.
So you're saying that you will buy Tunnel Rat now?
Oh yeah, I'd buy another Tunnel Rat. He was a cool looking figure. He just was.
They do a great job of bringing diversity.
Yeah, I was.
Even though it is the wildest caricatures of
Yeah.
diversity.
Absolutely.
You know, Roadblock is the rapping.
Yeah. Giant. Almost. He's basically a jive talking giant, and he's great. I love Roadblock.
All right, you know, Shipwreck is the salty sailor.
Yeah. I wish he swore, because he would have been perfect if he swore. Just saying. But you're right. Yeah, G.I. Joe was probably one of the most diverse cartoon casts out there. Arguably to this day, they really got everybody in there. Yeah, they're caricatures of their demo, but they're there. Again, I don't know a lot of Native Americans who actually think Spirit was cool, but they'll probably acknowledge, hey, at least they had a Native American.
No, I would go ahead and think I'll say nah.
Like they had, everybody, man, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans, Hispanics, fucking everybody is in this. They had.
Jinx is supposed to be Japanese, but she sounds like she's from Brooklyn.
She might, yeah. I don't know. Is Jinx Japanese? I don't know. She had a blind ninja master, but I didn't necessarily know if that meant she was Japanese. I would.
Even not Jinx. Her common mechanic. She's actually from the same clan as Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes.
I get it. She was a cool action figure. I bought her when I was a kid.
I agree.
She was a very cool action. Again, I came at G.I. Joe the wrong way. I bought the toys first because they look cool, and then I watched the cartoon and looking for those characters I had.
Oh, and not to mention the fact that they had some great ones like Sci-Fi. Man, I could go, man. But your first point does stand. They sidelined everybody for fucking Falcon.
Arguably, arguably, Snake Eyes is the most popular G.I. Joe character. I mean, Duke notwithstanding. Snake Eyes, come on, right? And you barely put him in this movie.
My problem with Snake Eyes in this movie is he's been captured. They break out, and he's running out, and he gets captured again by the tentacle porn. And the first thing he grabs is his sword.
Yeah.
How?
You mean he had his sword on him the whole time?
The whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah. Look, man, I don't.
But the problem is they took away Lady Jane's spears.
Oh yeah, gotta take those away. Those are weapons. And have those. You?
Yeah,
Oh no, you can keep the sword. That's just
still had his throwing stars on his belt.
Oh yeah, in his belt. Because again, can't change the way the toy looks. So the characters have to look like the toy. I was amazed they didn't have Quick Kick in the snow with just that fucking red band on. They actually gave him a snowsuit. Respect. At least they did that for him. This is the only time I've ever seen
the red band over it.
Only
But
time
he
I've
was
ever
also
seen
barefoot in the snow. He was barefoot in the snow.
She probably was. He probably was. I don't know.
The best way to get gangrene. That is literally how you get it.
And I do want to say, Edna Mode is right.
No capes.
100%. No capes. Cannot believe that the supreme leader of Cobra was done in by his own fucking cape.
His cape.
For one point in time,
is it the cape or was it the design of his stupid little hover thingy? Because who would put an intake right there, knowing he has a cape?
I was going to say that both Duke and Falcon did him in on that fucking chariot.
Maybe just don't get the chariot no more, man. Just don't. And I get it. When they sold Serpentor, it was a package deal. You got him with that chariot thing. It was, I remember.
You know what? One of his toys was actually a snake spear.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
One of his weapons.
They went in with it. But yeah, no capes. I couldn't believe all this shit going on. And that was the best way they could think of to do in Serpentor was the cape thing. It's just, I don't know, man. Ednamoto's right. That was my main note there. Let's talk a little bit before we close out. I really want to talk about the Duke thing. Duke fucking dies.
Yes.
It's a given. And in the most lazy, haphazard way, they undo it with dialogue. He's in a coma. Scarlet is fucking dying. She's melting down. Falcon is in tears. He slipped into a coma. I'm like, that was the best you guys had, huh? You couldn't have just, I don't know, cut that entirely. No? Just had to.
Like, it's when you hear, we've gone so far, we have to do something. Thank God for localization. Localization.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it localization?
Unfortunately, it's not localization since it was made for the US primarily. So
Right, it's not. So, and then Lynette
I
called
was
it.
trying to get another anime.
And you
Nice
know,
try.
Again.
and Lynette
Before-
called
yeah,
it. It
you
was
lost that one.
so soap opera. It's like he slipped into a coma. No, Stefano, it can't be. Like it was. I was just like I could.
Look,
Yeah,
that whole scene is just hilarious.
it is.
That's because of Falcon.
Oh yeah.
Because the last words he said was, "I don't need you. Get off my case." I mean, he was going
I'm
in
pulling
on
rank. Like he was so pissed. Oh my god.
Yeah, and just for you doing it to save me. I was like,
And I was just.
And you know the thing about it, we haven't mentioned this part. Falcon
What?
is actually voiced by Don Johnson.
Don fucking Johnson, champion of 80s melodrama. Don Johnson of
Fucking-
Miami Vice fame. And I, man, it was rough.
You know, I think about it, but not only did they have Don Johnson, which brought in the 80 melodrama, they also used the font from the A-Team.
They did, yeah. And they had
And I
Burgess
also-
Meredith. I mean, Burgess Meredith
Oh,
as
come
Lobby
on.
Lister. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better voice.
He sounded like he was 40,000 years old.
He always did, though. Like, Burgess Meredith always did. It was, so what sucks about it is if they would have actually had the balls to just kill Duke, it probably would have been a better movie.
You could
know?
have. Nah.
the thing is, you're only killing one character, unlike in Transformers where you killed off, most of Generation 1.
Well, and that's, again, I agree with that. I think giving yourselves the permission to kill one human character, it's very different than getting permission to kill 25 robots. Very different. But I honestly think that by cheapening out on Duke's death, it hurt this film. I really believe that. Brian, you disagree? Go.
Falcon hadn't proved himself to be his successor yet.
Oh, man. So much truth there.
And Falcon, seriously, you killed Duke and you leave us with Falcon, it would not the trade up. At least with Rodimus, Rodimus was fucking trying. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to lack off. He wasn't trying to be insubordinate. He wasn't doing anything. He could grow into that role.
Yes.
By this time, Falcon, you couldn't do that. If they had did a better job of saying, Falcon was always trying to step out of Duke's shadow, and he just waited for the opportunity. And they had built the story that he was always one step below Duke, so he had animosity to him. That's one thing.
But he outranked them. Anyway, go ahead. Somehow Falcon made officer. That's what I'm saying here.
I can honestly say it. I have a brother, and I have two brothers. Well, three. I have three brothers. Yeah, that's gonna come out right. Edit that part out. I have three.
Oh
have
wait.
brothers.
Circle back. You have three brothers, right?
Two of them are in the military. We're in the
Okay.
military. One of them, who was my younger brother, became an officer. So that one kind of hits even now. I'm like, you can see that one.
All right.
Well,
all right.
And believe it or not, that same argument of I'm pulling rank actually came up in a family discussion.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. Now those words are actually used at a fucking family barbecue. Those
Jesus
words.
Christ,
So that is by far the realest statement
man.
of G.I. Joe.
You're right, Brian. I retract. You're right. You're absolutely right. It didn't do enough to make you care if Falcon was gonna replace Duke. So I don't know. It felt so cheap. And then just the whole like phoning it in. Hey guys, Doc called and Duke woke up from his coma. Everything A-okay.
But he doesn't
That was-
remember who we are, and we have to try to make sure that he can get us back in his memory.
He has a goatee now and he's evil. Like he's
Oh, wait.
These are the days of our lives. We found his evil twin clone. He Cobra la la la.
It was.
He found his evil twin to count.
Ah, man, it was rough. It's a shame because again, the animation was fantastic to me. I really liked it, and the idea of a hero's journey was great. But just like Transformers, the movie, they really tanked, giving you the worst possible version of a character that you were supposed to root for. All of it market a new line of toys because they were discontinuing Duke and all the other mainline Joes. So they wanted a new roster, and they made this movie to help make that happen.
I wonder how much money they made by people buying Falcon just to set him on fire.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like people buy jerseys to set it on fire.
Right?
They-
Yeah.
He bought the
Yeah.
jersey.
You just
Right.
fucked up the
Yeah.
company.
You're still making a mistake.
According to the company's logistics, they made the right call.
I had a case of Bud Light to shoot at it. Like, anyway, it's outstanding. A lot of dumb decisions made, for sure. It's a shame. It's just a shame. This movie was the end of G.I. Joe. Now, I want to be clear. It wasn't the end of G.I. Joe as a franchise or a product, but it was kind of the end of G.I. Joe, the series, as children knew it. G.I. Joe, the series, had started out as a mini-series in 83 and a mini-series in 84. They got about 5 episodes. And then they got a 54-episode run in 1985. And they got a second season in 1986. Ended up introducing the whole Serpentor idea. And then this movie came out. This movie was a follow-up to the second season. Came out in 87. And that was it. G.I. Joe, effectively, original version of the cartoon was done. This ended G.I. Joe. Now,
So this was supposed to be the capstone.
I truly believe this was supposed
Finale?
to be a bridge to a new roster of toys to sell.
Really?
But underperformed. They were afraid to release in theaters because the movies that they'd been releasing all tanked. Transformers, the movie, was a fucking hot mess for them financially. My Little Pony tanked for them. Hasbro was not having a good time at the movies. So they elected not to do this as a theatrical release and go straight to home video. But it ended up being the end of G.I. Joe under that sort of watch. It took, I think, like 2 years to get more G.I. Joe. And they had to sell the rights to Deke. Deke Animation took over G.I. Joe. And they started doing their own thing with it, which is why we got Cobra Commander back. And so because they kind of just acknowledged the movie as kind of was a thing, but they did their own thing with it. The animation was far worse under Deke's watch. It was a very different thing. So everything that was G.I. Joe that we knew, the G.I. Joe you remember, this was it. This is how it ended. It ended with this movie because mistakes were made, is the best thing I can come up with. They couldn't stick the landing with this enough to justify a new season. And that says something because the whole purpose of it was to sell toys. So it's kind of a weird, because like even Transformers was able to bounce back from what happened with their movie. They still had follow-up seasons, but that G.I. Joe had to change hands after this. While the movie is as a cartoon, as a product to sell toys, pretty effective. it clearly wasn't effective enough. So I don't know. It's just interesting. Yeah. Do you guys remember a lot of G.I. Joe after this? Like, I mean, I know we don't remember shit, but it did. It took like 2 years, I think it was, when I looked it up, and it ended up going over to Deke Entertainment to do the new seasons, and it was just never the same. So anyway, it's a strange thing that this attempt at refreshing the roster ended up in
killing the series.
Whereas Transformers slaughtered everybody, yet managed to keep going. Fascinating.
I think it's because they killed Optimus and they had to right their wrong. So they were able to say, give us another season. We'll fix it. We'll fix
I
it.
think
I'm sure there's a financial reason.
it really is. Once you take away options, I don't have to buy a Duke toy. Duke's coming back. I don't have to worry about you guys.
Right.
I know that Duke is going to be back. Yeah, I've been waiting for the reprint of Duke. You know, so in that instance, if they had done that, then if they had killed Duke, it would have set them up for success. But even then, Snake Eyes was still here. I think the thing I do remember the most about the rebranding was that Storm Shadow actually came over to the Joes.
Have a
He was in a white suit with his really epic
hood.
Rashikage tattoo.
The hood, right?
Yeah, he had the hood.
Yeah.
So they did enough to, like, just seeing Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes on the same team. Fuck, sign me the fuck up for that. Word, he had so many great characters. Zartan, he haven't even gotten to the point of Zartan and the Dreadnought.
Yeah, Zartan and the oh man, their accents are just the fucking best.
Like honestly, I think the thing about Falcon is that Falcon acted more like a Dreadnought than a Joe.
He was the Dreadnought level of incompetence. I'll give you that.
Well, not Cobra. We haven't even talked about the fact that they had Cobra Commander trial and Falcon's trial going in at the same time.
Yeah. Narratively, it was pretty fun. There was a lot of things about this movie that were fine. They were good. It's just that they wanted us to back this group of fucking idiots. It was really a hard sell.
It really was.
Look, Tunnel Rat tried to do it to Jones. I think the thing about it is that anytime they try to do it their way, or the Jones way, or Beachhead's way, they failed. But they got back in touch with what they were doing, which is essentially what makes you a highly specialized thing. Not by doing it the way everybody else wants you to do it.
100%.
But by doing it by the way you want to do it. Tunnel Rat, I'm going down. No, that doesn't work. I'm going to go for that fucking tunnel and be a fucking rat. That's where he did. Big Lob, you know what? I got to narrate this because if I just go straight through, I'm going to get my ass blown up. But let me just talk my way through this whole thing.
Dude,
He's like his own type then.
Every time Big Knob was opening his trap, I kept thinking of Emperor's New Groove, and I kept thinking of Kronk, like he's doing his own theme song. I was like, is he doing his own narration? Jesus Christ. Doing his own narration. It was that, I don't know, it was silly to me. You're right, though, Brian. You're right. Like, they brought their skill set uniquely. But that's a failing on Beachhead and G.I. Joe's part in and of itself. You bring in these specialists, these highly trained soldiers, or highly trained specialists, I guess, is in their fields, and then you're trying to make them all behave the same way. And that's a mistake. You take those people's skill sets and you build those up.
Right.
Rather than trying to make everybody into Beachhead, you let everybody continue to be themselves. And if that would have been the story arc, man, I'd have been all in.
Yeah,
But it wasn't. It still ended up being Falcon's not Joe enough.
It was down Periscope.
Because look,
It was the movie Down Periscope.
honestly,
That's what it was.
here's the part that nobody said. Falcon, I believe 2 people were supposed to die.
Yeah?
Not only Duke, Flint was supposed to die as well.
Oh, you think Flint was supposed to go?
Which
And
one
then
was
Falcon was supposed to be the combination of both of them.
And that's a rough sell considering his character. Oh, Flint. I mean, not Flint. Falcon never recovers from this movie as a character.
No.
He never recovers. Now, I don't know if you guys did any of the reading, but Falcon ends up fucking on drugs. Like it is a slippery slope for this character. Yeah, drugs. There's a story arc in G.I. Joe where Falcon is addicted to drugs, meeting with drug dealers, and has to be stopped.
That kind of falls in line with his character, though.
It sure does, doesn't it? Like, you hear that and you go, yeah, that tracks. Like I can see that happening.
Tracks.
Uh-huh.
But you wouldn't want to buy the action figure for your kids. Hey, take Falcon. He's a great drug addict. You want to grow up to be just like him.
Nobody does opioids like Falcon. Really?
You know the thing about it is, they set him up for failure so bad. Like he looks like Flint.
He looks
He's
like
the brother
Flint, right?
of Duke, and he's named like Hawk.
Yeah, that's true.
The 3 top Joes, and you're supposed to be the amalgamation. He's Lieutenant Falcon as opposed to General Hawk.
Yeah.
He looks like Flint, but I don't know what the fuck beret he had on. I don't know. And he's the brother of Duke. All 3.
Yeah.
They tried to make him Serpentor for the Joes.
There you go.
I think that's my headcanon.
All right. He's Serpentor for the Joes. All right, I'll accept it.
But why not be Cobra Commander?
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. G.I. Joe the movie. Let's Lynette, I'm gonna let you start because I feel like you've suffered through G.I. Joe plenty. We're gonna let
big fan.
You're gonna let the non-Joe fan start our closing thoughts.
So have you seen this before? Had you seen this before?
No.
So you were like, I hate this and other, and even though it's coming on Saturday cartoons, I refuse to watch this.
Yes.
You stood your ground this entire time.
Yes. I hated the more you know. That used to.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yes. Hated that thing. I was like, "What are we watching?" And she was like, "The more you know." I was like, "No," and I turned it off.
That is fucking great. You mean the only person I know that actively hated?
I hated Joe.
I've never heard those words before. I've never heard those words.
This was the one cartoon where I was like, no. The whole time my brother went, "I want to watch it." I was like, "Why don't we watch something else? Can we watch something else?" No,
I'm surprised you didn't call in for this episode.
I figured you guys needed somebody who
definitely
viscerally hates G.I. Joe.
Viscerally hate? Holy
shit! With all her being.
That's so great.
It was everything that I was. It took a lot of focus for me to watch this anime. Did
you call your brother and let him know that you were watching the movie?
No. Because he would be like, "This is exciting."
Can you call him on speakerphone and let him know that you watched it? I would look. You need to call him right now. Tell him I just finished watching G.I. Joe the movie. Please, God, I need this. I need this.
But yes, no. But as someone who really did not, it took a lot of effort for me to watch it. I did enjoy the animation. I wished all the characters would just turn into. I was actually rooting for the Spore thing because I was like, "Great, what? Different characters. Maybe that's what Hasbro's doing. They're gonna turn them all into mutants. This will be cool."
And thus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was born. No.
But I would have to say the animation was great. The characters were very stereotypical for some of the people. Military protocol was not followed at all, so do not think that this is a good representation of the military.
You're saying this is not how court martials go? Damn it!
My whole life is a lie.
But I do have to say it's very weird that a Cobra was trapped in a clam. Wow, that's kind of an adult thing.
If anything, I want more anime.
Brian, you got your third. Good for you.
And then the main villain who was controlling the spores is having a monologue while holding a very phallic device with a little snake wrapping up around it. And I was like,
Oh, the time
Come
worm.
on. Come on.
I was like,
Get out of
I
there.
was like, wow, okay.
All
you
the
know,
signs
but-
are there.
But yeah, ultimately, I couldn't get behind G.I. Joe's, but I did like the animation in the movie.
So, would you say that you prefer Pie over G.I. Joe?
Ooh. Dude, even I can say I would rather watch 3x3 Eyes than G.I. Joe.
Yeah, I would rather watch 3x3 Eyes in dubbed. I'd rather listen to it dubbed.
You next leveled it. I wasn't gonna go that far, but good on you.
I would rather watch Pie dubbed.
So now I want to
G.I. Joe.
counteract that. I want to counteract that closing thought. You, Brian. Brian, you seem to be fighting really hard to champion this movie. So talk to me about G.I. Joe now. Now versus then. Give me your thoughts.
There's no the amount of disdain that had just been projected upon my childhood. It's like I don't think you got to. I've gotten my ass whooped because I used to shoplift G.I. Joe characters.
I don't see the problem with that. Yo, ho.
Right. Yeah, so this one hits differently, but the problem is you can't defend Falcon. And I love this podcast because the statements that we're making, right, because of our age, in the 80s, somebody was either making these damn statements or they were championing this. It's like, maybe he shouldn't be this much of a dirtbag. Maybe not. But in the end, somebody's like, you know what, we're just going to let this shit ride out. That's what he's going to be. I don't agree with Falcon and Cobra Law, the two newest things that they brought into it. I have an issue. So I think that this movie could have been done. If anything, it felt like in the MCU, you come to find out that Wakanda has been here this entire time, and they're actually the more powerful thing, the more powerful empire. It doesn't land in this scenario because you basically made Cobra Commander to go out and use the technology that you hate to to destroy us. When the entire time it's only been about money and the whole narrative of what you want a Cobra Commander to do has never come through at once at all. And maybe that's why you're punishing him. But he never once even. They could have hinted many times that there was a shadow organization above Cobra, and that would have made this land. They never did. And as a result, because you don't do the homework, it's much different than Unicron being a planet that's way off in the galaxy, coming off, and you realize how bad he is. You get introduced to a whole level of technological civilizations and transformers, and you're like, you know what? They could be out there. Robot piranhas, they could be out there. But you're basing this on Earth in the Himalayas with Cobra Law. And these are supposed to be bio-driven society. It doesn't land. So, because of that, you have to give it a failing grade. But they try to tell a story, and it made me want to buy toys afterwards. Like, as soon as I watched it, I watched it 3 times this week. And each time I immediately went to eBay trying to see if I could find the toys. I even almost made the pitch to my wife that, you know what? I think I want to start collecting G.I. Joes again. Because I ever since Hurricane Andrew, I've never collected anything because I was afraid of shit be taken from me. Because,
Yeah. Oh, no, I get it.
But this is my own. I love that I was able to get back to a place of even thinking about toy collection. And that's the purpose of this movie. So in that case, it was a success. Even if you get 5 toys and they get kidnapped and put Barbie heads on them. Free market commerce hurt. And Mattel and Hasbro, they came together.
Mash up universe.
I don't know what this is. I don't know.
I love that. I love that thought process, Brian. That it makes a lot of sense, and yeah, it did. So I do have a question for you though. What Joes did you think about buying?
I wanted to get Storm Shadow. Was actually, believe it or not, Storm Shadow was actually the first GI Joe that I ever bought with my own money.
The OG Storm Shadow.
No, not OG. Believe it or not even OG Storm Shadow. Hooded one.
Yeah,
the
hooded one. Yeah, it was a cool figure.
Cool. I actually thought about buying the Terradrome.
Oh man, that was a hell of a toy. So one thing you can give GI Joe, they made some fucking crazy toys.
Look,
USS Flag.
Yeah,
like,
the flag,
come on.
the Terradrome, the mobile command center. Come the fuck on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, I could go through and give you my top 10. The Black Mamba helicopter, that was supposed to be the juxtaposition to the Tomahawk. This one had 3 pods and what they were. Oh my god, there's so many fucking.
Yeah, vehicle design was pretty baller. Toy, just again, they had some incredible play sets. My cousin, he had the Flag. Thing took up his whole room. It was amazing. One amazing,
massive.
And then he also had the one, I don't remember what it was called, but it was a space command center, and the back, it lifted up like this, so you had this entire rocket ship that could launch off.
Shuttle?
Yeah, it was like a shuttle, but it was a large, like, kind of tube. It wasn't like a. I don't know what the fuck that thing was. It was cool as shit. My cousin had that one too. He had way more Joes than I did, so I would come over and use his play sets when we played with Joes because I couldn't afford it. I didn't have any of that shit. I had the Harrier. It's like I had the Harrier and the A10. I had the A10. That was great.
There were so many toys that I remember that as a kid. Whenever Christmas would come around, I would actually, instead of just telling my dad what I want, I would actually do the research and buy the Toys R Us
bring him the catalog.
And just circle it and say, "Give this to Santa. He'll know what to do." Motherfucker never did it.
Oh man, lazy fat bastard. All right,
but G.I. Joe actually changed the way when I became a father. It changed the way I wanted to buy toys for my kids. I always bought them the good and I always bought them the evil. I always did that for them.
Sure, but I mean, and Transformers as well.
Yeah, even Transformers.
Same dichotomy. All right, hey Vic, why don't you lay it on me, man? Yeah, Joe the movie.
First and foremost, Brian, collect some toys. Damn it. Just do it. Collect some toys. Do it.
Do it. Get some toys. You deserve it.
Don't care what it is. Just do it.
Let's go ham. No ham, but get yourself some good Joes. Joes are surprisingly affordable because they did a lot of reissues. Get some good Joes.
But so this one, I still remember its broadcast premiere.
Do you really? Good on you.
Yes.
It was on WSVN. It was on the middle of the week, and I had a huge issue because that was the same night as open house. And I got into an argument with my parents because, TV back then, there was no reruns or anything. It's like, you missed it.
Over.
So one of the very few arguments I got to win. I got to watch it as it premiered.
Nice. Did you get it in full or did you get the 5-part?
No, it was in full.
I was asking.
They aired at prime time.
Cool, because I watched it on VHS. I didn't see it when it aired, so for me it was.
But after that, they put it to the 5-part. Afterward.
Yeah.
Afterward.
Cool. All right, go. Yeah, go. Sorry,
but I enjoyed it. Even as an old man right now, I enjoy it. Is it a perfect movie? Absolutely not. Is there better G.I. Joe options? Yes, there is. I still strongly recommend Resolute for anyone. I think it's just under an hour, I think. But yeah, it's like the Transformers version of G.I. Joe because everyone dies.
Spoilers.
So, I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. Let my inner child roam free while watching it again. I mean, there's not much else I can say. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to go out and run and watch it because there's so much better stuff to watch right now. But it holds a spot dear in my heart.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's so many better animes out
There's so many bits of animation out there. Yes.
there.
Nostalgia Train is not. Is what's doing the heavy.
I was freaking it.
He did. He tried.
Like you sat there, you reached for it, and you got smacked.
Believe it or not, I've been getting my ass whooped this entire show. Like, even at the Transformers, I was like, I've made my case. They're going to stand behind me and call this anime. No. Oh, shit.
No, man, we don't. I didn't think it would.
Even my heartfelt plea just now about being inclusive,
If this
that.
is anime. If this is anime, then Inspector Gadget's anime, man. Like it's not. It's just not.
Wow.
The look on Brian's face is like, what? Inspector Gadget isn't anime?
Look, man.
Yeah, you guys are fucking heartless.
Come on, that's like saying, if you say G.I. Joe is anime, that's like saying the Gummy Bears TV series was anime.
I'm about to blend my culture on y'all. Blend the culture right now on your face.
We can and I felt it was necessary to definitely cover these questionable animated films because
questionable. You can't say questionable anime. Just say questionable anime one time.
No. One Attack What's Her Face is questionable anime.
Questionable anime.
But Attack Punisher Girl.
That's questionable anime.
It's one of those things where we remember these things a certain way, and the rose-colored glasses of what they were, and then coming back to revisit them, you see a lot of the cracks in the plaster of this house. G.I. Joe has a lot of cracks. It's still there structurally. You have fond memories of being there and doing it, except for Lynette, who would rather just never have
Joe
had
is
to.
a shack. And people have forgotten in the middle of the woods that you don't go to because they say it's haunted.
Bruce
She's not
Campbell's
her
there.
brother that watch this.
It's
All right, hold on. We got to make sure she know. She had a choice whether not to watch. She
I wanted to make a point. I had to be the one.
greatly appreciate it. Like everybody else said, this isn't a perfect movie. It suffers a lot narratively. It suffers a lot character developmentally. There are just some really, really rough choices that were made with this. It didn't make me want to buy toys, but it did make me want to watch the old G.I. Joe. It made me want to go back and watch the G.I. Joe I liked. I kind of get what you're saying, Brian, but again, it affected me slightly differently. I didn't hate this movie. I didn't. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was absurd. But I've watched a lot of absurd shit. We've watched a lot of absurd shit in this show. So I can't strike this for being absurd.
Okay. All right. Hold on. What Attack Punisher Girl versus G.I. Joe, Lynette?
What Attack Punisher Girl all the way.
Holy shit.
Well,
Oh, shit.
Kate is strong with this one.
that's
I will put out my little projector and advertise Blood Attack Punisher Girl on the back of my garage before I will show G.I. Joe.
Wait, you're gonna watch this in a Wendy's? No.
I will watch Blood Attack Punisher Girl in a Wendy's before. Without headphones.
There's no redeeming this for her. There is no redeeming this.
That's it. This is it.
I haven't. It's a
No,
thing
I-
with
you know
G.I.
what?
Joe. I like the
Okay.
anime. The animation was very good.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, the animation is good. Like, you
Mhm.
can't. But even, all right, so let me give a comparison. The Black Cauldron. The Disney film. I don't know if you guys remember it. Most people don't because it was an absolute failure of a Disney film. It was gorgeous. It was beautifully animated. Hands down, one of my favorite as far as quality of animation. Character animation was amazing. Narratively, it was a piece of steaming shit. It was a terrible. Animation quality alone can't save a film. Not even for Disney. And this is the same situation. It couldn't even save G.I. Joe. Couldn't save its own series. Which is a shame. It did strike a lot of the nostalgia nerves, seeing characters that I liked, seeing toys that I had as a kid. You get that feeling that when you're playing with your toys as a child, and that feeling's in here. It's tapped down pretty hard because my characters were locked up, but notwithstanding, they were still there, and nobody got their head blown off, so that's a win. But yeah, it's struggled to cross the finish line with me. Again, this, like Brian said, with the Cobra Lost stuff and the narratively, like trying to build this into what happened with this, and I just know this is what happened. It went into a marketing meeting, and they're like, "What are your ideas?" And somebody's like, "Well, we've got this snake guy. He's gonna be like the emperor of Cobra." And they're like, "Well, how the fuck's that work? How are we gonna make him?" And they're like, "No, you don't understand. He's always been the emperor of Cobra." Okay, I guess we'll write that in. Thanks, Bob. And then they had to make that happen.
I'm sorry, Hank.
So then they get around the water cooler and they're like, "Dude, what the fuck? What's up with Hank? How the hell are we gonna do this? We gotta write this guy in like he's been here forever. He's gonna believe this."
That Bob was the one that actually brought up the problem. Hank was the one that
There
fixed
you go.
it.
And
Bob was the one that,
And then some white-haired dude running Hasbro was like, "This shit's for 10-year-olds. Nobody fucking cares. Do it. Because we want to sell a shit ton."
That was Brock. Brock did that shit.
I love that. Brock is the name I respect. I love that you picked Brock. Look, it was shoehorned in the laziest possible way. So it kind of fell apart for me. I did feel the nostalgia train. I didn't feel it like I did for Transformers. Transformers, I legitimately went and looked up, considered buying Transformers. It made my son want to watch Transformers. G.I. Joe did not accomplish that. It didn't make my son want to watch G.I. Joe. It didn't make my son want to own a G.I. Joe. My son didn't give two shits if he ever sees G.I. Joe again. Failed. I'm sorry. You just did.
I think we can make so much money just having Gabe just review 80s nostalgia. It just having.
I don't think the world's ready for my son's thoughts on 80s nostalgia.
I am so here for it. I would pay money to say, my parents have been. If that's not, look, I'm telling you, there's money there. There's money there.
I'm telling you, I have watched things with my son where he turns at me and he goes, "You like this?" Damn.
That's what we need. That's what we need. Just for him to say, something about, "You're my parent." I would love to see it.
Well, I think guys, if you're listening to this show and you remember G.I. Joe the movie and you think it was great, don't watch it again, because I don't want you to see the cracks in the house. I want you to remember that place that you had fun and kind of keep it there. If you've never seen G.I. Joe the movie and you listen to this, listen to Vic. Watch, was it Retaliation? Watch that. Resolute. Retaliation is the one with The Rock. Don't watch that one. Watch Resolute.
Oh my God. Matter of fact, don't watch any of the G.I. Joe.
Don't watch any of the G.I. Joe live action. I'm sorry. These things are great toys, man.
Channing Tatum as Duke, I swear to God, that was the closest to the next level of visceral hate that I had as Channing Tatum as Duke.
All right. That's fair.
I remember the part in the movie where he looks to Baroness and he says, "I'm going to save you." And I was in the middle of the theater and I actually legit screamed out, "You go to fucking hell." I went in. So can I understand that hate, Lynette? Yes, I can. But it was induced by Channing fucking Tatum as Duke. Don't you ever.
Just don't. So don't. And if you,
I'll send Brian the poster. Big old movie poster.
Hey, just do me a favor. I allow you to send that poster, like put a Barbie head on top of Channing Tatum, and I'll be.
And include lighter fluid. Oh.
I got my own. Don't need it. I got my own.
Shit. So, guys, I think that's about it. Look, it's not. There were a lot of these '80s movies for the toy lines, and G.I. Joe was one of them. But was it the best one? I think we can all collectively agree it was not the best '80s toy line animated movie. Whether or not it was good or not, that's up to you to decide. But we're gonna save you the trouble. Maybe just skip it. Is that everybody agreeing? Or just you could skip this?
No, I say watch it.
Ryan wants everyone to watch this, so go watch it. And make sure you send all complaints directly to Brian at Kaiju of the Grotto on Twitter.
Get your own email. Get your own BS to get hate mail from.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for our show today. Until next time, keep calm and Cobra.
You've just been privy to the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd, presented by Geek Grotto. Follow the podcast on Twitter at Geek Grotto. For show notes and corrections, or for general geeky fun, you can visit our website at geek-grotto.com. If you would like to sponsor the show, you can do so on the podcast's Red Circle host site, redcircle.com/shows/MMMAN. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, please like, follow, and subscribe.